Apple is known for serializing parts on their devices, making them irreparable whether you use Apple original parts or not. Take this iPhone 15 Pro Max for example. Swapping parts on this gave me all these messages and I lost some pretty important features. Everything here is still Apple original, so what the hell? They made it so that only they can replace these parts with full functionality. But for $3,500, is Apple evil enough to have done that on the Apple Vision Pro? Well, we bought two to answer that very question. I still have to take apart the second one, but while I do, let me explain to you how you can open this without breaking it, because some mistakes were made on the last one. Thankfully, nothing went too wrong, and this still fully works. First things first, we'll remove the bands as well as the speakers because it's so important that we protect the Vision Pro this time around. We'll be using some Scotch tape on the lenses. Once applied, we'll cut it to shape so that it can't come off. Because these are made of plastic, it's absolutely essential that we protect them. And unfortunately, the same goes for the front. The Vision Pro uses laminated glass, but unlike the laminated glass so many are used to, this one has an outer layer made of plastic. Protecting this is important purely for cosmetic reasons, as having a scratched up Vision Pro won't really affect anything, but it will look super ugly. We also have to cut this to shape, being very careful not to accidentally slip with our razor blade and slice something that shouldn't be sliced. Now that we have pretty much everything protected, it's time to cook the Apple Vision Pro. The glue that Apple used on this device is so unbelievably strong and heat resistant that I have to actually use the heat gun and the heat pad at the same time to get my pry tools in there. And by pry tool, I mean all of them. The sides are definitely where anyone ever doing this would want to pry from, as there are no flex cables here. But there are some on the top and the bottom, so prying from there would be a huge mistake. Once we have a little gap, we can start to make our way across the entire Vision Pro. This is a lot easier this time around because I actually know what I'm doing. All that's really left now is to pry the bottom of this just a little bit. And there we go, it's open. This thing cracks open like an egg. So from the last video, we know that we have to go in from this side as well, but to do that, we have to unscrew these shields over here, and we'll lift up this tape to reveal a hidden screw. Love it when Apple does that. I'm always kind of scared that I didn't disconnect the battery, and then I remember that the battery's nowhere to be seen. We'll remove these shields. I think now is a good time to introduce how I'm going to keep these screws organized. Yeah, it's not pretty, but I took a picture of the Vision Pro and I caved out these massive holes so that when I take both apart, I could just drop the screws in the designated hole and have everything organized so my mind can be at peace. Now we can pop off all of these connectors. Goodbye. Goodbye, and goodbye. That's the front persona display alongside the two cameras. We'll put that over there. Now the scary part. This is where I messed up last time. Really don't want to mess up this time. We're gonna have to pry into this fabric just around the corners and try and pop it off. Let's see if this works. And it seems like it just unclips. Definitely way easier than cutting it open. A little bit of it is still glued to the lens, but there we go. We have it off in one piece. Everything looks okay, nothing looks damaged here, so that's good news. We also did the same thing for the back. This one's a lot cleaner, but yeah, we have screw holes for every single screw on the back, so this should be fairly easy. We'll go ahead and unscrew everything we see on this side. Now we can lift up the OLED displays. iFixit revealed that these are 4K displays confirmed. I mean, they're a little under 4K, but it's still technically 4K. And yeah, you can tell the difference when you have these on. These things are unlike any other VR headset I've ever used. Now we'll hit this with an unscrew. Unscrew number 2. These 3 screws were the death of me in the last video because they were anchoring in the front camera array. I couldn't figure out what was stopping me from removing that, and it turned out it was just these 3 all along. Now we can turn this back around. We'll disconnect everything on here. which includes all the cameras, the LiDAR, the dot projector, the infrared. One of the things we do want to check is if these components are serialized, because Apple tends to serialize these components, especially with the iPhones, specifically this and this, which corresponds to the Face ID. They're locked, you can't swap those over, so I wonder if they did that this time. Now we can go deeper. It's time to start unscrewing all the screws that are holding this board in so we can finally swap it over with another board and see what Apple made unrepairable this time around. But to do that, we have to get through Apple's new booby trap. So these nuts, I believe, are 2mm nuts, and I couldn't unscrew it last time, so I actually had to drill a flat slit into it and then use the flathead screwdriver to remove it. We bought some tools this time, so we should be ready. I'll leave a link to these in the description. We'll hit the nut with a unscrew, and it works, thank God. There we go. So these nuts actually house another screw within, which is why Apple chose this shape, I guess, but very annoying because this is not in any toolkits. Now we'll disconnect all the flex cables from the board, and we just have one cable left to disconnect over here. There we go. We have the board fully removed and fully undamaged. Everything went really smoothly this time around. Now it's time to explain to you the swap. And boom, we have both Apple Vision Pros laid out and fully labeled. Red is the first Apple Vision Pro I took apart before, and blue is the Vision Pro I just took apart. We're gonna take the red Vision Pro motherboard and install that into foreign territory, aka the blue Apple Vision Pro parts. What does this do? Well, it's the same as swapping out and replacing every single part in the Vision Pro. That means any anti-repair tactics Apple may have hidden can be found this way. After swapping the motherboards, I was completely shocked to find out that the Vision Pro was completely bricked. There was some fan spin, the occasional Apple logo on the back, and then nothing. With iPhones, this always works, but I guess the Vision Pro is different. Clearly, there was so much more going on here. My next thought was to swap out the actual displays because maybe they're paired. Nope, still nothing. Okay, so this doesn't work. How about swapping the board's front sensors? They're paired on iPhones, so why wouldn't they be paired on this? Aw, are you serious? At this point, I was curious to see if the headset even worked at all. So I took all the blue parts and placed them back into the device to test and see if any of these parts are working. And the headset booted on as usual. Okay, it fucking works. There's definitely something going on here. Maybe this board needs all the original parts it came with to map its surroundings. So we'll place the board here, and this time we're going to also replace the red persona for the blue persona because there are two cameras on here. We'll also replace the sensors because obviously this does most of the mapping. Let's see if this works. So this combination didn't work. What if we take the blue displays and replace them with the red displays? After all, these do house the technology for optic ID, which is a biometric identifier, which Apple is known to serialize. So we'll place them here, and hopefully that works. And it's working, thank God. So this combo does work, but we still don't know how well, and are there any non-genuine messages with the Apple Vision Pro? Let's find out. So on first glance, everything seems to be working. I don't think there are any non-genuine messages so far, but the thing is, because I'm in Canada, literally none of these apps work. It's very annoying. That's why the sponsor of this video, NordVPN, helped solve that. We'll explain to you how we got apps on this device, even though we're in Canada. We'll pull out my Windows laptop, and now we're gonna head to NordVPN. So on NordVPN, we are connected to a VPN in the United States. This one is specifically in New York. So now what we could do is we'll go ahead and turn on our mobile hotspot. There are some steps in between this, but there we go. Hotspot is turned on. It's called NordVPN spoofed. So this IP address is from the States. Now we'll go ahead and put on our headset. We'll head to settings and we're going to head to Wi-Fi and we'll wait for the VPN. There it is, NordVPN spoofed USA Wi-Fi. We'll tap that. Now we'll type in my password. So the keyboard seems to be working. While we're setting up the Wi-Fi here, by clicking on the password, I can test if the optic ID works and let you guys basically see that it does. So I'll hit that and check that out. The optic ID does work. So we didn't lose any functionality there. Of course, we are still using the same parts that correspond to it, so we really shouldn't. We'll connect to the Wi-Fi and bam, we just connected. Let's go escape. I'll move this over here. So now that we're connected to the spoofed Wi-Fi, I just want to make sure that it is in fact spoofed. So we'll go to nordvpn.com and check that out. We're on nordvpn.com. It says we're protected and it also says our location is in New York. So we're all good to make that American Apple ID. And bam, thanks to NordVPN, I am now able to download apps to fully test out this Apple Vision Pro. Because they're such a chill company, you can actually use the same account with 6 different devices. We'll go ahead and download the iPad version. You can try out NordVPN for free for 30 days. And if you're not down with the extra layer of security, extra content from each region, and everything else they have to offer, well, you could just opt out. You click the link in the description and yes. Click the link in the description and with a 2-year plan, you'll get an additional 4 months free. So I spent as much time in the headset as possible after this, and well, here's what I found. There were no non-genuine messages, no surprise there, because most of the parts in the headset are part of the red headset anyway. The eye tracking at first wasn't great, but after recalibrating, it worked perfectly. The headset had no issues creating a persona of me, and I tested a few apps and all was working perfectly. But to answer the question we're all here for, is the Apple Vision Pro repairable? No, it's so unbelievably unrepairable that I redid this test multiple times just to be sure. It doesn't seem like you can replace the front displays, the back persona display, or the sensors with another unit. They're all likely calibrated together to make pass-through perfect, and the headset just won't boot with these parts from another Vision Pro. The things you can replace are the housing, bottom cameras, IR illuminators, fans, speakers, the battery, and anything else left in the housing. I am going to continue running tests on both of these Apple Vision Pros via short videos, but so far, this seems to be a terrible start to Apple's entry into the mixed reality world. For reference, the MetaQuest 2 is fully repairable if you know how to do it and much cheaper. For $3,500, you should be able to do with this device as you please, even if it means calibration is a little bit off. If VR and AR really is the direction Apple is headed in, they're definitely bringing their serialization and anti-right to repair tactics with them. Let's hope this gets solved in a future update, or there is a legitimate reason for them to do this. I can't really see any though. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this one. This has been weeks in the making, so be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.